Okay, so this is going to be just a tutorial on how to do the Morth hover, which is now obsoleting the fairy hover in Wind Waker HD any percent. This Morth hover is slower than a first try fairy hover by around 30 seconds if you compare both of them done optimally. So fairy hover might come back in the future, like when we really try to push this game, but if you're not going for the world record and if you're not trying to really push the game, then this Morth hover is for you. So I had a previous video that I can probably link in the description, which explains the mechanic that makes this work and why it wasn't found until very recently. Because we've been doing the fairy hover for like 9 months now, which is really awful. So thankfully this trick is now a thing. So anyway, to start, make sure you have a quarter heart. If you need to take damage, obviously you have bombs. This pot right here will always have a bomb drop in it that will set your bomb count to 30. So it's always going to be there. It's always going to be that bomb drop. So that's very convenient. And if you need more magic for some leafing during this pot always has a magic drop in it. So that's also convenient. You also need to make sure that you have like at least a few arrows for this. You only technically need one, but sometimes you might need some more. Alright, so to start, basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting close enough to a Morth so that when we try to kill it with a stab attack, we're going to hit it, but the Morth is going to cling onto Link at the same time, which is the mechanic that makes this work. So typically what I look for, I'm in first person mode right now, and I'm slowly moving towards the Morth. The Morth will always turn to face you, so this visual cue is consistent. Typically I look for the left orange spike right there that you can see at the bottom of the screen. I typically want that spike to be just off the edge of the screen when I line this up. That's my visual cue. I would recommend probably, looking for your own visual cue so you can see what's consistent for you. And then with my sword out, I target and then I home buffer in a stab attack by holding forward and pressing B out of the home buffer. The home buffer is not required, but sometimes if you don't stab, sometimes if you mistime the B press, you might move forward slightly and then it won't work anymore. Or you might get too close to the Morth, or you might accidentally kill the Morth without it grabbing onto you. Okay, so now, when Link rolls, the Morth is going to jump off of him, and the Morth will always jump off Link somewhere behind him. So you want to get on either this wooden plank right here that I'm on, or the one over there, so that Link's back is facing the open area right here. And then you're going to want to do a roll to shake the Morth off of Link. If you have your sword out, you can still do a roll with an L press, or with an L target, by holding R in the shield. Even though Link has a sword out, pressing A will do a roll like this, instead of doing a jump attack. Alright, so I rolled, and so the Morth is now off of Link, and Link shook it off in a good direction. That's almost a perfect direction, actually. But sometimes the Morth will go off this way or this way, in which case you'll have to go and try to use one of the other two Morths. The direction the Morth shakes off is pretty much the one RNG part of this trick right here, but it's infinitely better than the fairy hover, so I'm all for it. And because you can reattempt it over and over again with those two Morths over there. Anyways, once we have this Morth here, I'm gonna kill these two ones if I can aim at them. There we go. So they don't get in the way. There were some times when I was practicing this where I would confuse which Morth that I had actually done the death cancel with. And I'd use the wrong Morth to do the hover, and if you use the wrong Morth isn't going to drop a heart, so that's not very good. Anyway, once the Morth is off of Link, unfortunately if you try to walk, and look at the Morth right now, if I try to walk full speed, the Morth is going to try to come to Link, bounce over here. And we don't want that, we want the Morth to stay where it is, so you have a few options. You can either walk around slowly, just like this. You don't want to go too fast because the Morth will then bounce over to Link. If you are going to walk, I find it easier to walk in first person mode. I don't know why that is, but I just find that easier to do. You can also crawl around if you want to. I'll just just by holding R. It's not fast enough to move the Morth. So that's another option. Anyway, once you have the Morth into position, what you want to do is you want to use the leaf to blow the Morth up onto the platform just like this. The Morth will gain some height each time, and we can just continually use the leaf, always trying to aim for the center of the platform. There. I think that'll put the Morth up there. Oh no, it didn't. There we go. Okay, so the Morth's up there now. You'll notice that I did use the leaf while the Morth was in the air. You want to leaf over to this wooden plank right here while the Morth is in the air, because when the Morth is in the air, it can't move to try to get closer to you if you're moving really fast. So when the Morth is in the air, make sure you like jump and leap over here, because if the Morth is up on the platform right now while you're like still on, you know, if you're still in the center area or that plank right there, you'll have to like be slow and like crawl around back here to get to this front plank, which obviously you don't want. Anyway, now we're actually going to abuse the fact that the Morth can come to Link. So we want to be like on the edge of this plank right here, closest to the platform. We want to just move bit by bit so we can get the Morth next to this pillar on the left side of the platform. Then I like to turn the camera like this so that I can see where the Morth is relative to the edge of the platform. And then you want to move even more. You basically just want to keep on doing little movements until you can see the Morth on the edge, eventually. So they're just poking out. That position will probably work, but it would probably be really difficult also. So I'm going to see if I can maneuver him over a little bit more. Okay, so sometimes this will happen. The Morth will fall off the platform, but that's actually not a problem. Oops, that is a problem though. Okay, but yeah, so if the Morth does happen to fall off, you can just use the leaf to get it back up onto the platform. This can be a little bit tricky though, because sometimes if you're way too close to the Morth, it might potentially like go the wrong direction when you leaf it. Fine though. And, yep, okay, it's back up there. So now we do this again. Manipulate the Morth to come this way. I want to go over here. Try to get the Morth to the edge. Alright, there we go. That's really good. That's a good position. Okay, so once the Morth is in position, if the Morth is like over the ledge even the tiniest bit, you can still do this trick. We're all over here. As for the positioning right here for the zombie hover, I like to stand just in front of the like yellow texture that's on the inside of the platform. It's like right above Lincoln, then slightly behind him. So that's just my visual cue that I use. The hover can work like this. The positioning for this isn't like really tight or anything, because the hover can work from many different positions. This is just what I personally like to go for. Okay, so from here, farther left, I like to put a little bit of space. As you can see here, there's like a lighter part of this texture on the outside, and there's the darker part that makes up the inside. I like to see like maybe the width of Link's foot between Link and the lighter part of the texture right here. That's just kind of what I used. Again, this positioning isn't really all that tight, but just to like get a gauge on where I am, that's what I use. Okay, so now the Morth is in position, we're in a fine position. So now we need to kill the Morth and start a zombie hover up to the Morth. This zombie hover does require pretty decent mashing. It doesn't require like perfect mashing, but if you're learning to zombie hover for the first time, you might have some difficulties doing this. So like if you're just learning to zombie hover for the first time, I'd recommend going to practice zombie hovering first, because this trick could be pretty tough if you're still new at it. As for the way we line up, personally, the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to set down a bomb, and then I'm going to wait to shoot the Morth until right before the bomb explodes. After that, I'm going to throw a bomb, which will put the bow away, because if I try to put the bow away, like just regularly, Link's gonna pick up the bomb in front of him, and we don't want that. So I take out a bomb and I instantly throw it to get rid of it. And then I pull out the sword by pressing B. And then at that point, the bomb should be like maybe a second or half a second towards exploding. And then it'll knock me back and I can start my zombie hover. So the lineup for this bomb, because like we don't want to be parallel with the edge, we want to be slightly aimed inwards at the edge so we can actually go up and be on the ledge when we get the heart. So I like to aim at the sort of line along here between the under part of the ledge, which is darker, and the side of the ledge, which is lighter. Just kind of like this. And then from here, I'm going to set down my bomb, wait a few seconds, shoot the Morth, throw a bomb, pull my sword, and there we go. I start my zombie hover. Obviously, we can see the heart there. I home buffer here because I switch my mashing style to the two-thumb method. Go. This, and once we get to the edge, we can fall and get the heart. And then obviously once you're here, just walk into the loading zone. So just some other things. Since this requires a heart drop, you can't do this on hero mode, you have to do this on normal mode. And now you only have one heart when going into the Ganondorf fight. If you're really worried about how many hearts you have, or like you're really worried about dying on the Ganondorf fight, you can use the grapple hook to get extra hearts from Zelda. So right when the fight begins, you can let Zelda shoot Ganondorf with the light arrow, and then you can just roll over to her and use the grapple hook to get a heart refill from her, because she does fully refill your hearts, I think. She'll fully give you back at least 3 hearts, I definitely know that, but you're not going to have any more hearts for any percent, so... yeah. Anyway, I believe that about wraps it up. If you guys have any questions in the comment section, I'll do my best to answer them. But, yeah. Enjoy any percent with no fairy hover. You'll see many new runners of this game. And, yeah, that's it. Goodbye.